Performing arts in the 19th through the 21st century.
Rise of performance art in Western America. Americans moved from rural areas to larger cities looking for new and different types of entertainment.
At the time, vaudeville, the circus, American theater, motion picture, and American music were all growing in popularity. Here's a brief overview of what we'll be discussing in our slides.
Americans sought various forms of entertainment to fill their leisure time. Vaudeville, a distinctly American form of entertainment, offered a diverse range of acts, including songs, dances, juggling, and slapstick comedy, catering to a wide audience. The circus, with famous names like P.T. Barnum and Anthony Bailey, attracted people with its grandeur and spectacle, promoting itself as the greatest show on earth. The advent of motion pictures transformed the entertainment landscape. Films could be shown multiple times a day, generating significant profits. Additionally, a new genre of music called ragtime gained popularity, blending African American spirituals with European musical forms. This genre eventually gave rise to jazz, rhythm and blues, and rock and roll. Sheet music and phonograph records played a vital role in making this music accessible and beloved by the public.
Vaudeville was a form of variety entertainment predominantly found in the United States between the late 19th and early 20th century. Vaudeville included multiple different types of performances like song and dance, burlesque comedy, and even circus acts. Most vaudeville acts like the Yiddish theater and the circus were family affairs. Immigrants often used vaudeville entertainment to assimilate themselves into American culture. They would use their acts to represent their own heritage or things they learned from their country. Vaudeville was the start of crossing racial boundaries and class boundaries in entertainment and helped people learn more about their cultures. Vaudeville influences today. Today, vaudeville is most recognizable in the movie and TV industry. Most actors of the late 19th and early 20th century used the same type of physical and animated comedy seen in vaudeville acts and performances once they began acting in movies. Vaudeville's form of variety entertainment is still seen today in TV shows like Saturday Night Live and The Tonight Show.
Circus in the 19th century. Settlers pushing westward allowed for more opportunities for circus acts. Circuses were originally given in temporary wooden buildings but were changed to canvas tents in the traveling American circus. Circuses in America were very different from European circuses. They included menageries and humans with oddities that were run by businessmen rather than just a performing family. In the 19th century, we see exotic animals join the circus. Joshua Purdy Brown was popular within the circus industry, and he knew a cattle dealer named Hachilia Bailey who bought an African elephant. This elephant was displayed around the country, and people had a great reaction. This led to a plethora of other exotic animals in circus shows. This influenced many other people to join the menagerie business. In 1835, Zoological Institute was created, merging the circus and menagerie industries. 13 menageries and 3 circuses were included. Phineas Taylor Barnum mixed these animal acts with performers with talents and performers that had defects or oddities on their body, called the Barnum and Bailey Circus. William Cameron Coo had the idea to make the American circus travel. He wanted it to travel by railway because it was the easiest way to haul the equipment. Circus in the 21st century. Views now have changed about animals in circus. Today, animal rights activists have changed the perception of training exotic animals for circus acts. Legislation has started to change, making it hard to access exotic animals at all. So now most circuses do not include animals and are simply about the performers. The type of performers you can see in today's circuses are magicians, acrobats, clowns, dancers, aerialists, stilt walkers, contortionists, tightrope walkers, fire breathers, jugglers, and more. However, circuses are seeing a decline in popularity because of the concerns with animal welfare and the COVID-19 pandemic. People also now lean towards other forms of entertainment.
19th and 20th century American theater. The gold rush and the expansion of railways led the population to spread westward. This led to a higher demand for American theater throughout the country. Drama quickly became the most popular form of entertainment across all societal classes in America. Some common forms of American theater in the 19th century include melodramas, romantics, comic operas, political satires, black minstrel shows, historical plays, parlor entertainments, musical extravaganzas, adaptations of novels, etc. American theater eventually led to floating entertainment that included showboats, usually in the South in the Mississippi and Ohio rivers, and usually involved a melodrama. However, the 19th and 20th century American theater was extremely racist and often did blackface. During this time, African Americans were rarely seen on stage and there were segregated minstrel groups. African Americans attempted to have their own theater called the African Grove Theater in New York City, however, it did not last long. Oftentimes, when there was a black role or black character, white actors portrayed black characters by doing blackface. This would be done by painting the face using black makeup. These African American roles were often very stereotypical. The actor that was most known for their stereotypical and racist blackfaced role was known as Daddy Rice. Here's a short video explaining the extreme racism that African Americans faced in the 19th and 20th century in the American theater.
Sadly, nuanced or thoughtful portrayals of African Americans were far from the norm. African Americans were largely subjects of caricature, comedy, and racism in American theater. The minstrel show was a widely popular and deeply racist 19th century genre created by white Americans. It allowed other white Americans to laugh at stereotyped portrayals of African Americans. Initially, it was performed by white actors in blackface, a kind of theatrical makeup that used burnt cork, grease paint, and even shoe polish to darken the skin, and other makeup to exaggerate the eyes and lips. Later on, when African Americans began to perform in minstrel shows, they had to use blackface too, transforming themselves into the caricatures that white audiences demanded. The genre is usually credited to T.D. Rice, or Daddy Rice, a New York actor who sang and danced in blackface in variety entertainments. He styled himself as an Ethiopian delineator, created a character named Jim Crow, and popularized the song Jump Jim Crow. In the late 19th century, racist laws enforcing segregation in the southern United States became known as Jim Crow laws, after Daddy Rice's character. Rice wasn't the first white man to use blackface in America. Blackface servant characters had appeared on U.S. stages since the 18th century, and let's not forget Othello, but Daddy Rice was the first to become famous for it, even taking his act to London. He later became even more famous for playing Uncle Tom in a pro-slavery version of Uncle Tom's Cabin.
American theater today is in a crisis. COVID-19 and its aftermath is mostly to blame for the crisis. Other factors contributing to American theater's crisis is inflation, worries about public safety, smaller audiences, less people returning to shows and loss of subscribers, less donors, and the company's programming. Theaters are coming together to try and resolve the issue by having an increase in co-productions and exploring their options like sharing offices for things like human resources, finances, and marketing, and also trying to create revenue by renting out buildings or even getting a liquor license.
Music in the 19th century. Ragtime music became very popular at the time. It was a syncopated music style that was almost like a prototype of jazz. It was popular near the Mississippi and Missouri rivers, and it was inspired by African American banjo styles and European music. Scott Joplin was known as the king of ragtime. Sheet music became a big industry for music at home, and by the 1890s, commercial recordings were sold. Music in the 21st century. Now there is a huge range of genre and styles, including dance pop, indie rock, emo, R&B, hip-hop, teen pop, Disney music, country pop, and tons more. Music today is a lot more accessible at home because of devices like phones, tablets, computers, etc. Mention streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music.
The last type of entertainment from the 19th century and 20th century that we will be discussing is motion picture. After photography became a large part of the American life, inventors tried to create something like motion picture. This was done by the zoetrope, simply a toy that made it possible to view multiple pictures at a fast speed, which created the look of motion picture, and the zoogyroscope or the zoopraxiscope, which was a method of projecting photos. Not to mention the kintograph, which is a primitive motion picture camera that could project moving images onto a screen, created by Thomas Edison and William Dixon. Between the years of 1890 and 1927, these tools helped create thousands of motion pictures and silent movies.
Motion picture in the 21st century. New technology like cable and satellite has brought film directly to people's homes. Regarding movie theaters, people can go to indoor theaters or drive-in theaters where they can see movies in 3D on huge screens. People can also watch movies at home on streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Max, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Amazon Prime, etc.